Good morning, afternoon, evening. Well, I figure got enough of my wonderful community out there pinging me emails and text messages and stuff saying, "Erin, are you okay? Are you okay? We haven't heard from you." It's been, what, 3 weeks or so since I've done a video. I did kind of tell you guys that I wasn't going to do a whole lot. And T's getting ready to take care of trash. So I figured I'd touch base with y'all and check in, let you know how things are going here on the homestead. Smokey! What you doing, Smokey? He says, trying to stay the hell out of the sun. So things have been tough. Things have been very tough for us out here. And it's been, well, the entire last week we had a dry front come through, and there was a little bit of a storm way over there, and there's a little bit of a storm way over there, but for all intents, we have not had any rain since May 21st, when we had that really nasty storm that knocked down my pole mounts. And we got them up. We had a couple about a week or so later, but they did something they do frequently, and that is to split when they come this way. Some will go to the south, and then some will go to the north, and we essentially have not had any rain in over 6 weeks. It has been dry to the bone, and it's oh my God, it's been tough. So, give you a heads up on some of the battles that we've been doing just on the homestead. One is trying to keep everything watered. And as much as we water, with the temperatures being over 100 degrees, well, it's been hot consistently since it quit raining. When it quit raining, the temperatures just went straight up. And, you know, it'd been in the 90s, mid to upper 90s. And then this last week, it shot up, and we were dealing with 105, 107. Yesterday was 103. And we've had this little dry front come through. And you can see it's kind of cleared the air out a little bit. I mean, it wasn't as hazy. Another issue we've had, I mean, it's affecting everything. This drought and this weather manipulation and stuff that's going is affecting everything. We've had issues with coons. There's a bunch of them that are coming in. We only had, up until a few weeks ago, we only had one or two that we would see where I put the corn down over here and over here for the deer. I'll tell you about the deer in a second. But so the coons have been coming up in here, and they've been getting into the feed, and we had everything buttoned up pretty good, but we had some extra bags put away, and they were chewing right into the bags of feed. So we would come out here at night because the light over there and the light up against the cabin, they'd get triggered, and we see the lights come on. And usually it's oh, here comes Mitten. She hears me talking. She's gonna say, "I want mama." Usually we have rabbits and possums and stuff too, but the coons have been getting into things, and that's a real concern when you've got some baby chicks. We've got a mama hen over there that's got some babies, and I don't want to lose any birds to animals. You want to come over and get some loving and petting? So I want to show you some of the crazy stuff that's going on. We at the end of right after that storm, of course, because of all the water, we were completely full of water in our tanks, and I was feeling pretty good about it. And then we didn't get any rain, and I didn't need to water for several weeks. I mean, everything stayed pretty wet, pretty green and growing and nice for a few weeks after that storm. It took a while for it to dry up. But about the third week, it started drying up. And wherever the ground is exposed, like here and there and there, in these areas, the ground dried up real quick. And if I didn't get water on it, well, let's put it this way. These were my beans. And if you all remember, I had an issue from here out. The rabbits came in and ate them. These didn't get eaten by the rabbits, but you can see that no matter how much I watered, they died. I've kind of been able to keep some of those tomatoes going okay. This corn down here, no. So I said, well, let me try and get this corn going right here and keep it going. So I've been watering this literally every 2 days. We've been putting water on it. And this corn should be way up here. All of this corn was either Silver Queen or Golden Queen. There was a couple different varieties, and it was all the seed I had left. I said, look, let me get some of it in the ground so I can collect some seed. But you can see these things are stunted by the lack of water. And this is us literally watering our behinds off. We went through all the water in our tanks that we could go through. Now, I'm not out of water. I have stopped watering out of our tanks. And what I've been doing, and I'll show you here in a second, mittens, is we're going to a friend's house and we're filling up our IBC tote and we're watering. We just got done. It took us almost 3 hours to water everything. I have not watered this because I think I'm gonna have to let this go, this section right here, because I just cannot compete, and I don't see the viability of getting any significant food off of it. The sweet potatoes will be fine until fall. They'll actually do a whole lot of growing come fall. This stuff here, the okra and the castor, those things were just planted to continue to save and have viable seed. So I've got seed. They've done their purpose. The cauliflower, that's the purple Sicily cauliflower. And, you know, I've been keeping it going. We'll see how it goes. I might just keep that and a few of these corns. I don't know. But it's been such a fight. Such a fight. Fighting the bugs has been another issue. It's been a war out here. And there's more to just fighting the drought. Whatever energies that we've been getting from above us, either from that thing or from the scattered things and the things that move and all that stuff. We won't get into the details of that, but you know what I'm talking about. I know, Mittens, you want some attention. And let's put it this way. All right, so we pulled the garlic out. And I replanted to do a thing of squash. We've also moved some mulch on top of our plants to help hold the moisture in, because what we've noticed is where we mulched right there was spectacular. It has held the water in the soil a hell of a lot better, but it still doesn't matter. I want you to see this. This area where it looks kind of lush, there were twice as many plants here. This thing was loaded, and every day we'll lose 2 or 3 plants. And you see how that's just completely wilted? That's the sun. And what will happen is the sun comes over. Now, I think the only reason I have any plants left is because I've got the shade of the panels here. But you can see, one day, this plant will burn up. The next day, this plant, and look, the frogs, I don't know if you saw that frog, they come in here because of the water. But look at this. T and I have been on absolute battle with all the insects. I'm going to show you something over here that's going to sadden your heart, because it's been absolutely devastating to us. So we've been watering the trees to keep them watered. That cherry tree was a new one this year because we've lost the 2 previous cherry trees. I'm hoping this one will survive, even though this last year termites got through it. I've put motor oil on it to soak into the wood so the bugs don't get it. And you can see, yes, Mittens, you can see it's trying to grow around. And if it can go around and close in, I might save this one. Mittens, you need to get out of the sun. So, been very hard on the bees. Been very hard because we've been in a drought, so I've had to feed them. We did harvest a little bit of honey, but we've had a real difficult time. After we had all the swarms that we caught and the nukes, we managed to sell a few. They almost quit building after they requeened themselves. Very, very tough. Very, very tough on the girls. Like I said, these have been doing pretty good, and up until about a week ago, I was going through here bragging about, even though we've had tough drought, that this is one of the best, 2 best crops I've had since we've been here. The beets, which I'm not going to show you yet because that's scary, and our brassicas. Now, most of them are still doing pretty good, but about 3 or 4 days ago, even though we've been hitting these really hard with the neem oil, and it has been doing a pretty good job, we got hit hard by some cabbage moths, and some of the plants got it, and then we've been hitting these fairly regularly with a new coat of neem oil because they have been growing. What's been happening is the new growth, and I'll show you over here on the cauliflower. When the new growth had come out, they'd lay their eggs on the new growth, so we'd have to, before we could even know it and get to it, just tore up. So we've been hitting, see the new growth down here doesn't look too bad because we managed to get to it quickly. I know, Mittens, you just want some attention. Now the next thing's going to turn your stomach. Look at my beets. You ain't going to believe this. That is disgusting. So this was, and we were watering it. Come on, little girl. We were watering it. I'm going to step over here in the shade because this sun is incredible. We were watering it, and this was the most beautiful, luscious, plushest stand of beets I've had. I've actually pulled some. We actually pulled a batch before we got hit, but we had what I considered one of the best crops I've seen since we've moved here. Not the best crop I've ever had, because I've done 10 times this in Montana. But it was doing really well, and it was enough for us to put away our first real batch of pickled beets since we've moved here. And we've done it was a small batch. It wasn't huge, but it was a small batch. And it looked real good, and then get a little cloud. And then we come out here one evening, and there's all these little beetles crawling all over it. You know, a few hundred of them, and they're only in that row right there. They weren't in the other rows. They had only gone to this one row, like it was the best stuff that they had gotten, or the best stuff that they wanted. And so I was like, okay, neem oil, just like those things over there. I hit them with the neem oil, but those moths still came in. You can see the white powder everywhere. That is the diatomaceous earth. So when we hit them, I come out here with a super strength of neem oil and I sprayed them down. And said, well, that ought to get them. We'll, give them to overnight. By overnight, they moved from here to here. By morning, that row looked like it skeletonized from them eating everything down to the stem, and they had moved over. So the next morning, there were literally thousands and thousands of beetles all over those. They hadn't quite made it over to these yet. And we started doing some research and find out that they are blister beetles. They're about an inch long, and the reason they call them blister beetles is if you start squishing them with your fingers, because we'll do that with the Japanese beetles and some of the other, and the squash bugs on your squash. We'll go around and we'll just squish them and kill them when we find them. Well, apparently, if you do that, the juices in them will give you, because of something in them, will give you blisters on your fingers or your hands or something like that. Or if they bite you, there's something to that effect. So we couldn't do that. And we find out that nothing works on them except for this, and it's an organic thing. It's called spinosad, and we just bought some and had it delivered in. And we got the spinosad, and we haven't had a chance to apply it. But I'm going to tell you, the thousands of these beetles that literally devastated this, then some of them moved over, and you can see the jalapeno right there, or all three of them. They literally destroyed and ate the leaves off of that. And what we found out by reading up on them is they'll move from crop to crop to crop, and overnight they'll take a whole crop out. Well, I had to go against my own moral determination to stay as organic as possible, and I borrowed some 7 spray from the neighbor that I'm now getting water. I'm going to show you that here in a second, that I'm getting water from. And we sprayed them down. Hey, Smokey, you behave. Don't hiss at him. She's a little pissy bitch sometimes. Yes, you are. You don't need to be like that. You can be nice. You can come say hi. That's my buddy. So I never did get anything planted in here because I planted beans 4 times, and every time the seeds rotted. And it looks like that coon, now I'm seeing it looks like that coon came in and dug a hole right there again. We had one of the little baby turkeys didn't make it, so T wanted to bury it here, so, just right under the ground. Well, the coon got in there. Got it out. Quit your hissing at him. He ain't trying to do nothing. He ain't got nothing to do anything with anymore there, girl. Neither do you. You don't need to be hateful. She's jealous. She was my lap kitty until he came along, and he is my snuggle buddy now. Isn't that right, buddy? We got a breeze coming in. We're supposed to have north by northeast winds coming in and cool down about 10 degrees, only getting up into the low 90s. Oh, the low 90s. So we did everything we could with the natural stuff that we had, and it did not matter. There were leaves down here that were just covered in the diatomaceous earth, and they ate through them. Now, did they wear off and die? Maybe. Well, fortunately, I think, the plant will survive, because in the last few days we've gotten some new leaves coming out. Okay? And assuming that they don't come back, because I don't know where they go. They would be gone and then come back out at night, and by morning they would be all over, and midday when the sun hit them, they'd disappear. You get it cleaned up, baby?
I think so. Just like the June bugs, where do they go at night? Because they're flying around, aren't you?
They're flying around, and they're hard to catch. It's not like the Japanese beetles that'll land up there and you can just knock them off into a can of gas. Or alcohol. We've used some alcohol. So, huge thanks to our friend Ken. He's allowed us to take our IBC tote on the trailer there and go up and fill it up. And we can get 275 gallons. And if we disperse it, and what we do is we put the hose into this tub. We just set the hose in the tub and let that thing just run and fill up that, and then we take our watering cans and we dip them in there, and then we walk along and we pour it on everything. Like each one of these trees, we'll dump a whole can, which is about 2 gallons. We'll dump a whole can on each tree. The asparagus here and there. Some things we have not watered very well because we just don't have the volume to do that. You can see how rough the strawberries look. You can see how rough the turmeric looks. It doesn't even want to come up. We haven't been doing that. We've been trying to save the bushes, like the 2 blueberry bushes, you know, all the trees that we've put in, those kinds of things we've been trying to save. And of course our plants up on the deck here. T finished painting the deck, got rid of that red and made it all green like everything. Looks real good. Love it. So that's what we've been doing, and we have made like 5 or 6 trips. And I'm gonna tell you, I put the water down out of the IBC tote. We'll water everything, and we direct water. We don't broadcast water. We literally pour water right on the base. Get the light on it. Right on around the base of the plant. And the same with the corn here. And that's the 3rd replanting of the popcorn. So this was what came out from the first planting, and then we planted again and again. And then about a week ago, in getting it beat through my hard head, that the mulch is the way to go, and it's going to have to be for dry conditions. We're going to try mulching a lot more stuff, and I own a big lot down there too, and we're going to clear out another paddock area for more grazing for animals. But when we do that, all the trees and stuff that we clear out way down the hill here, all of that, we're going to rent a chipper, and we're going to make more chips, both for Ken and for me, because he's helped me so much. We're going to work together. We're doing a lot of things together as a neighbors, community. But where those piles were of mulch, T and I came out here early in the morning. That's something we've been doing. We've been getting up at like 5 and coming out and working till about 9. Let's see, it's about 9:30, quarter to 10 now. We've been working till then, and then coming in from the heat to keep from getting heat stroke. Just a couple times we almost pushed ourselves into a heat stroke. But once we pulled that down and went ahead and covered this, it makes a huge difference. It holds the moisture in a whole lot better, because if I would water this and there was no moisture or no mulch here, by this afternoon you would not be able to tell that I had put mulch here, and all of these leaves would be curled up like you saw down there. So it's been tough, my friends. It's been tough. We got some very unusual weather patterns, things that have been going on that are not normal, and I think a lot of that is being influenced by those who have the technology to do so. The mint's doing kind of nice. We got a lot of very interesting pollinators because of these mints. Very interesting pollinators. But haven't been. Tomorrow I'm hoping that maybe, because it's supposed to be cooler, we're going to actually get down to about 70 degrees tonight for a low, and only 90 something tomorrow. So I'm hoping in the morning that we can run some logs through the mill, because I need to rebuild our pump house over here. How you doing, baby? We need to get see her grabbing her ear. There's something going on with the energy. Both of us feel like we got water in her ears, like there's pressure, sharp pains and stuff, and she can't hear. It's like her ear's been clogged up. We're gonna get some. We'll get some. It may not be a huge batch of.
That's enough to make some jelly.
Yep, we like our elderberry. I love our elderberry jelly.
It's enough to make some jelly.
So, we've been doing everything that we can just to save and maintain what we've got here. Because I am for certain if Ken wasn't helping us with some water,
It'd be a different story.
it'd be a very scary different story right now. And here's the thing, we are just getting into the beginning of summer. We still got all of July and August to go through. And you can look up, y'all want to look up the weather in this area. There's this whole region from from Mountain Home over to Hardy, up to West Plains, and this is the kind of area that I'm in. You check the weather in the 10-day, the whole next week, not this well, so we got about 4 days of 90s, and then we're going to go back up into the hundreds, and you see it's 101, 101, 103, 103, 105, 103, 100. So we got about a solid week of above 100-degree temperatures with no rain, and having had no rain in going to be going on 2 months by then. So for those of you who do not believe we're at war, well, you got another thing coming. I'm going to go stand in the shade. Oh, geez. I will say that for whatever reason, because we got honeydews, muskmelon, cantaloupe, and watermelon. And I'm not sure. These are watermelon. I'm not sure what the melons. Come on, buddy. Come over here to the shade. There we go. Those are actually going to do okay. But we've been throwing the water to them. I don't know about the squash, because every day I lose at least 1 or 2 squash plants. It's like they get microwaved. The heat and whatnot has just been too crazy. Aside from that, we have been productive from a few other things. I finally finished all the plumbing in the lower cabin that my other community member got, and I finished the plumbing in here. But before I can get water to this cabin, I need to do the pump house, which means I need to get on the mill to make the wood, and doing that is awful damn challenging, in this heat. And that's oh God, it's almost 30 minutes. And that's about a bit of a wrap up. It's been a battle on all the conditions here on the homestead. And there are other issues. Now, let's take a quick switch over to the things that I said I would not talk about in the previous video, but we will kind of talk around in a way that you can understand. Most of you who followed me, who've been on this journey with me for me and T, step over in the shade, honey.
I know.
Get over here.
Hide in
Oh, God, it's hot out here. Most of, no, because I got the ACs on in there, and I want to have to talk over it. And it's a mess in there.
We're playing in there.
We're playing with as much as we can do to be productive as we can, and so we have our little metal cases that serve as delivery reach out and touch you things, and we're recycling the metals so that they can work again for future use, if you understand what I'm saying. So neither of us are very happy with what is occurring. Here, you hold this. My hand is cramping. Did you get one?
I did.
Oh, you got one.
I did. Those little frackers.
Little June bugs. These little bastards. So, let me get down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get down
There
here.
you go. There you go.
It's a little easier. So, God, it's even too hot to have a hat on.
Yeah.
Smoky.
And our poor kids that are black, and even Shadow, she's having a hard time with this heat.
So,
Hi, baby.
the events that are occurring, and I know most of you are paying attention to what's going on, continue to reinforce my derived opinions. And that is all I've seen is a psychological battle against us. The information war, the mind war, the games, and all of that. And everything is a divisive tool, and it's worked. And it really is starting to it's really starting to scare me for the outcome of things, because remember, what is the three? Oh, and I want to do one of those. I guess the only thing I can say is I told you so, or I did a video back in April, and back in April when the cryptos were blowing through the roof, and I got contacted by somebody who said they were in that Kappa Indigo Alpha agency, okay, and I think that's what they said they were, and they said that when the markets roll over, that cryptos are going to go to lick your ice cream while you, like J Snip 4 says, lick your ice cream. So way back when Bitcoin was 50, 60, 70,000 and a digital coin, and I was telling there's three or four of you that have a few of those, that I was saying, get some currency units out now and get them and turn them into physical assets now while you have an opportunity. It's just gonna be.
He's trying to find every place possible to
Yeah.
stay cool, honey.
What you doing, buddy? That's my buddy. That's my buddy. So, and now it's what, below 20? Not that 20 isn't a bad thing, but there's several of you that I knew were crypto millionaires, and you're like, oh no, but it's going to keep going up. We're going to have the 100,000 party. No, it turned around and went down. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to turn around and go back up. I suspect everything kind of will, because of the creation of the currency units is not going to stop. But the problem is your availability of things to get with it, because that's all money was ever for, was a temporary hold of your labor until you can convert it into something that you wanted or needed. And that's why, those of us who have gone through and played the different accumulation games of currency units and money have all said, I better lick your ice cream now, because the shelves are starting to run dry.
Yep.
So, dare I say it, I warned you about what was coming with the cornholio. I was correct in what I saw there. I've warned you about times to take things and make moves. I've warned you about making moves to get to where you could at least attempt, to be productive and self-sufficient. But what? You gonna be a little pain?
She's jealous.
I know, she's jealous. They both want and vie for my attention. You should see them in the bed at night. And, if one's in my lap, the other one jumps up because they think they're gonna get in my lap.
It's
like,
that way with both. It's that way with both of us. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I have a real concern about this whole plan. I do not see anything at all, anything that would lead me to believe that there is truly a good guy, white hat, SOC, SOC. I don't see anything of that. And not even with whatever this thing was on that happened in Georgia and the Stones, okay? There's a lot of speculation. I gotta get off my.
There's a lot of variables.
A lot of speculation as to who and what and why that happened, and until we were to know for sure, it's all speculation. Another cloud come in.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm looking for, I have yet to see. Now, what I am seeing is the events that are occurring all look like they're to a script, especially since this new the 17th letter has come out, and there's a few things that have been said around that group of people that follow that, as if, oh yeah, see, they're really going to save us.
And hasn't J Snip talked about this EC person and how he's always
There's some, and his insider guy, which
Yeah.
Here's the problem. My comprehension and understanding of what is necessary to truly fix this has continued to be controlled by the negative, the bad people, the power people, the control people, because it is about keeping people divided.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a big psychological operation that has happened. And I don't even realize that some of the people, whoops, didn't mean to roll over on your foot there, buddy. I'm trying to find the right words to say this. So and because I know that the one person who said this to me might actually, watch the video to this point. But it was said to me by somebody who was in the military, when we were discussing about, how do we handle this as a social, because this is, Albert Pike has got it, this is going to be a social cataclysm. And we're going to have to deal with all the people who cannot feed themselves. I mean, there's no magic turning this thing back. It has to finish imploding. And once the level of chaos hits a certain point, it can't magically be fixed.
Mm-mm.
It has to play itself out. And that's not going to be a pretty thing. That's why we were, we got all these empty metal containers we might fill.
We're just preparing in all forms and aspects.
All ways that we can. And so it was said to me, we all know who needs to be removed. Just don't be the first. And it was with later consideration, and I'm going, oh yeah, that's the perfect psychological stop. Very much like what we saw with the Bundy situation.
Yeah.
And a few weeks ago, there was an article that came out about that certain military group and what they do. Many of you might have seen it on Zero Hedge. But everything is about telling you to shut up and sit down, because there's a savior out there that's going to come get you. It's in the religions, it's in the propaganda, it's in the duality of left wing, right wing. It's in all of that.
They all speak with forked tongue.
Yeah, because what really needs to happen is we all need to come together and take a stand, because we outnumber them.
Exactly, like we did back in 1776.
Yeah, that year back then. It has to happen again. But it's not.
No.
And what I see is only evidence of their plan moving forward. Their being the WEF, Bilderberg, whatever you want to call
those people.
Luciferians, whatever.
Those people.
Yeah. So, because of that, I am also seeing the advancement, and part of what I'm concerned about is I'm also seeing the advancement of the control mechanisms. And I've stated before, the means by which they do so is usually these little devices and that technology. And I've told you that I would be making changes in that area. And this month we're going to start making some of those changes. And I've been debating, because if you've been in my position where you have spoken out and you have put yourself in a place where you can be defined in certain ways by those who keep hearing and reading through what I'm saying, that the way I think it's probably best that we break certain digital connections. There's a good term. Some digital connections, and create new ones. And it's very, very hard because there's so many of you out there that I've really developed wonderful relationships with, but we're like so far apart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're all spread out. And what I always wanted was community close by. And now there's a few here. We've got a lot of locals that we've developed some community with. One of the things that we have done here in the last few weeks is I built a few more hives for another guy who happens to be a restaurant owner. We had such a really good crop of garlic out here that he bought some garlic from us, and we're hoping to have, if we can make some of these crops make it through, have some stuff to provide for his restaurant or his country store.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some good seeds that have been planted, good things that we're doing. But mark my words again, this does not end until it's cleaned out at the foundation. And as we've talked about, discussed the triangle shape, where they're on the top of that triangle shape, and nothing up there could be supported if it didn't have a broad base. And what I mean by that is, government is slavery. And anyone who supports government, involved in government, or holds positions in any government whatsoever, or believes that government should be there to save them, is the problem. And until that gets cleaned out, we will not be free. And we will have to deal with the oppression of those who feel like they can have control over somebody else and not leave people alone. I don't think it's possible at any point in time that we can ever go back to constitutional, where the government gets out of our lives. I don't think that's going to happen. And the reason I don't think that's going to happen is because the percentage, remember I told you about the pendulum swing from the percentage of consumers versus producers, and we've been pushed into so far into the consumer, and when that pendulum swings back to being more producers than there are consumers, so that we have abundance of things instead of lack of things, the process of that movement, of that cycle, is what we're talking about. Massive fight for what's left. And in that chaos, it's going to be very unpleasant. So in order not to be a circle thing that people look at, you know what that is, on my back, I'm going to make some changes, which means I've tried to figure a way to do this and still be in connection with a lot of you. I'll maybe make a new channel that I have absolutely no digital link to, and start fresh and scratch with a new computer, a new page and whatnot, and only as a happenstance kind of give you clues as to how to go find it. I don't know, but the channels that I've got, everything that I've got is tied to our digital devices. Hey buddy, what you doing? It's all tied to the numbers, through PayPal, through AdSense, through all of that stuff. So if I get rid of one, they're all tied together. So it doesn't matter. It's a nasty web. It's a really not private, nasty web. And I'd like to snip the ends of those webs so that the whole thing can collapse on itself. So, I think the title might be kind of accurate. We're at our wits' end. We want to be left alone, but we can't even live in peace under God's sky because we can't even get what God needs to give us for staying alive. And I don't think a well just having a well here would not make a difference because we're not out of water. We've gotten water. It's being provided by a friend. But when the sun literally kills your plants, when you have massive swarms of insects that devastate entire crops in hours, things like that, makes it pretty tough. Doesn't mean I'm going to give up the fight. It just means I don't want to be on the front lines of it, and that's why I've moved out here into the middle of the woods so I could try and stay away from the storms that are upon us now. Based on all the information that you see, I think we only have a few weeks left, maybe by mid-August, end of August, 1st of September, before we start having real serious supply issues with food. I think I've stated it probably a year or two ago that it's past time to wake people up. Time's been up. You either are skilled at knowing what to make sure that you have maintained and you're on it, or you don't have the get up to speed time left. So, what you getting? Get my string? Look at that. Get that. So I'll end. How far along are we? What's our time?
We're at almost 47 minutes.
Yeah, I probably should wrap this up. I want to say it again. I'll say I did a video about a week or so ago, and I had a little bit more of a venting, and I said.
And I think it was more in your face, like.
Yeah, I got in your face kind of. I said some things that were.
Oh, you almost had
it. That was the one that you squished. It
no,
flew away.
That one I squished is still here.
Well, one came up right next to where you squished. Right there is where it was. Oh, so there was another one right next to it.
There was another one. I just squished it.
So. I said a lot of things that I know might have tripped some algos, and I said a lot of things that might have hurt some feelings, but it's real simple. No one's going to save any of us.
Gosh.
No one's going to save any of us. There is someone out there that might save our souls, but there ain't nobody going to save anyone except for ourselves working. If you are not actively producing the majority of your own food and working with other community members who have passions in this aspect or this aspect where you can work together, if you're not actively doing that and right now working on developing those skill sets, your ass is grass. And I love all of you for the support that you guys have given. T and I could not have made it this far without the love that so many of you have given to us in this journey. I hope the information that we have shared with you, I hope the information that we've shared with you, my friends, has helped you get as close to where we're at as possible in whatever means that is, because it's getting real right now. It's getting real. So I haven't lost all hope and faith in that which is good in God. I have not. I just know we still have a hell of a lot that we got to go through. And I know if I, or T and I, if we are having as hard a time as we are with the skill sets that we have at doing what we're doing, if we're struggling, people who haven't even begun to develop the skill sets, I don't care if they want to or not. You don't have time. Your time is up. So we love you. We appreciate all of you for having been there. I don't know how much I'm going to do in the way of videos, because, like I said, time's up. And right now, I don't have the energy to do it. What things I do have to do here, that's where my energy's going. That's why we have been focused on, why you haven't heard from us. That's why we've been just every ounce of energy that we have from from 5 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock when it's too hot for us to do anything. And then we sit inside and we're basically like this from 9 o'clock in the morning till probably 4 o'clock when we got to go out and feed everybody again. And by the time we get done feeding everybody and doing the chores that we need to do, we get inside and it's 8, 9 o'clock and we're laying there going,
trying to cool down, yeah.
How are we going to get to sleep? And we got the generator, and I hate running that damn generator. God, I hate running that generator. But you know, even after we've run both air conditioners on the generator for 3 or 4 hours, we'll shut them off. It'll be 75 degrees in the house, and within an hour we're back over 85 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. So I think enough said. Nice long video. We miss you. We wish we could be like it was 3-4 years ago when we were highly interactive, doing live streams and stuff like that. But we are staying very focused now on trying to keep our spirits up the best we can, and just maintaining our stuff. So
maintaining our sanity.
say bye.
Say
bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.